Welcome to The Walk-In, a podcast where doors stay open and stories unfold one conversation at a time. Hosted by Christopher Michael Sean, author, poet, actor, and lifelong student of people and purpose. Here, you're more than just a listener. You're part of the room, part of the story. In every episode, someone sits down, breathes deep, and shares what drives them, what keeps them moving, and what keeps them dreaming. This is a space for dreamers, doers, and those still finding their way. So pull up a chair, pour something warm, and let's take a walk into the soul.
You said what were your dogs' names?
Angus and Eowyn.
Angus?
Yep.
Eowyn. Where'd you get the name Eowyn? That's pretty cool.
It's from Lord of the Rings. She's the Shield Maiden of Rohan.
Oh, well, I just revealed to everybody that I've never seen Lord of the Rings, and I'm never gonna live that down.
I mean, it's fixable. We could fix it right now. If you really
We can
want
fix it right now. No, because I want to say I own the series. Now I have to watch it. If I
You
don't
really
own
do.
the series, I have to go buy the series and watch it. Because that's really why Craig joined early. Craig joined early to sniff me out, to reveal the fact that I've never seen Lord of the Rings.
Your
Eowyn.
own creation is building you into a corner.
Yeah, it's okay. So, Eowyn, what is her role in Lord of the Rings? I'm sorry.
You're good. So she is a Shield Maiden of Rohan. She is the niece of the King of Rohan. Oh boy, man! Now if I've messed up the relationship, people are gonna come for me. um, Pretty sure she's the niece of the King of Rohan. In the movie, a line that she is famous for, without spoiling any context, she will say, "I am no man." You will know.
Ah, okay. I'll come back to you whenever I watch it. Anyway, so do you feel like introducing yourself to the audience? You want to tell them who you are, what you do?
Absolutely. My name is James Coyle. I'm an independent author. I have one book out currently. I'm a few weeks away from putting out my second, and hopefully by the time I die, I will have 100 books to my name.
That's a lofty goal, but I mean, hey, totally. You said how many do you have so far?
I've got one, and I'm finishing up my second.
Oh, you're so close.
I know.
No,
Only
here's the
next
thing
week.
though. Right, exactly. My thing is two things. First of all, I've been writing one book for like 5 years and it's still not published, and I still don't think it's ready to publish. The other book I wrote in 1 year and it is published. So writing is interesting. I
It
don't know if I'm
definitely
doing it
is.
right. I don't know if I'm doing it wrong. Um, but it was a goal of mine for 2025 to publish my documentary, and yeah, that's what I did. Um,
It's amazing.
so how long have you been writing for?
So, officially, my entire life. I've been writing since I was a kid. When I was in sixth grade, I wrote a book that was really bad. It was just a ripoff of Lord of the Rings, actually. Just basically changed the characters' names a little bit.
As you
Um,
should, as you should.
but fully and intensely as my main career, my main thing, I've been writing for about a year and a half.
hmm That's no, that's good. And there's something I mention this guy so much, and he has no idea that I mention him so much. His name is Laramore. He was one of the first people that I had on the podcast, and
Mhm.
he's a self-published author, all that. And he said you don't have to paint every single day to be an artist, and I think that's true. So the moment you pick up a pen and a paper, you're an author, in my
Oh yeah,
opinion. Um,
absolutely.
I think that goes with acting, voice acting, composing music, everything. You know what I mean? And
Any
I
type
think
of
whenever
making, yeah.
yeah, yeah. I think you with your work and what I've seen on TikTok, which let me tell you, I still think it's a miracle that I've trained my FYP to send me small creators. I open my FYP and it just small creator, small creator, small creator. So Whenever I came across you, I was like, oh, and that intro, bro, dude, that intro's killer. I love that intro. It's so
Thank you.
simple and sweet. It's like the vibe of the podcast, if you've ever listened to it, the intro is just super simple, super calming, and it's a soft intro. And that's what I feel about your TikTok. Like there's so much noise and chaos in the world. Then you open a TikTok video from you, and it's just, hey friends. It's like, oh, nice and warm, you know?
Yes. That
Yes.
is
No more
that's my
noise,
that
no
was my
more
whole
chaos.
vibe. I wanted
Yeah,
people to feel like they were just hanging out with me, you know?
that's literally yeah, we are like-minded in that way because that's the whole goal of the podcast, not just for guests, but for listeners too, is to just feel like we're all just sitting down, hanging out, you know? Um, so the book you're currently working on, would you
Mhm.
want to tell me about it?
Yeah, it is. It's a sci-fi western, and it's going to be set on the moon 1,000 years in the future after humanity has terraformed the entire solar system. So we've taken all of the planets and moons and celestial bodies in the solar system and given them an atmosphere for us to be able to live and breathe on.
That
Um,
that just sounds like Helldivers too with extra steps. No, I'm just
yeah, kind of, minus all the
no,
big
no.
bugs.
Yeah, so you're gonna add big bugs to your book? 'Cause that's what I'm hearing, you know? No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I'm
Sure.
just going to write Starship Troopers, actually.
My version of Starship Troopers. Um, no, that's awesome. Like I was like sci-fi western terraforming planets. Man, that's just one book. That sounds
Yeah,
like a whole
that's
series.
it. I When I started out writing, I didn't want to write a series or you know even really trilogies. I like simple standalone adventures that are impactful to the readers, that maybe tackle heavy topics or make you think about something, and you grow with the characters. And I just kept getting burnt out by what I felt were authors trying to drag a story out over 5 books when it really was only needed to be two. So I wanted to
Yeah.
be the guy who wrote the one book or the 2 books, maybe.
No, that's incredible. That's literally I feel like a lot of things out there, they're designed for money. They just want money. So if they
Oh
can
yeah.
get as many episodes out, if they can get as many books out, if they can get as many this out, the like I feel like we've lost touch with the reality of, hey, people just like to sit down with one or two things and just enjoy it. You know, breathe it in. So like I don't binge watch anything. I can't sit down and watch like 30 episodes of a show. But there's my current obsession is the Amazing Digital Circus, and I've watched the episodes that are out right now, um, like 20 or 30 times. It's like 7 or 8 episodes out right now. They're all like 45 minutes apiece, and I've watched them over and over and over and over again because each episode, it doesn't feel like it's built to create an episode. If there's an adventure, there's a point, there's something to learn, there's growth. You're, like you said, growing with the characters, learning with the characters. And I feel like, as a me being an author as well,
Mhm.
whenever I do write, I don't go, okay, how can I get this to sell? I'm not worried so much about this selling. I'm worried about how can I make sure the reader feels comfortable in this space that I've created. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah,
Like,
it's you want the readers to enjoy their time with your work.
yeah, I don't want them
Yeah.
to pull their wallets out at every corner. My documentary, when I published it, literally like $3. I don't care about the money. I want people to read it and hopefully feel inspired and motivated and go, dude, this guy moved 2,000 miles away with nothing but a bag of clothes and $1,000, lived in his car for 3 months, saved up for his own place. Now he runs a podcast, does voice auditions, acting auditions, open mic nights. He writes books and shit. This guy's fucking crazy. What the fuck is this guy built on? You know? And
And if
I
he
hope
can do it, so can I, you know?
that's what I'm hopeful for. And I love that. I love that you have that headspace. And I think with a lot of the creative authors out there that are on the kind of the down low on the okay, we don't have a whole lot of purchases, we don't have a whole lot of people reading. It can be discouraging, but I think we have enough people that are wanting to really connect with the audience that the more the audience realizes that the world is just trying to sell their attention, they're going to want that authentic, real feel, not just in books, but in movies and everywhere.
Oh, absolutely. Um, I have really found it hard to find new shows that really draw me in because I can just feel that they're just drawing things out to keep going, to build an empire. Everybody wants to be the new Game of Thrones, even though it didn't actually end that well. Nobody's gonna make a season or two of a show, and it's kind of disappointing to me recently, actually.
Yeah, that's why my obsession is the Amazing Digital Circus. It's 7 episodes, man, 7, 8 episodes, and the creator literally said, "I'm only doing 9, so you guys only have 2 more episodes left, and that's it." I'm like, "What? Wait, what?" Like, so, and she didn't expect it was made by Glitch, which I don't know if you've ever heard of. Oh
I
man,
have
I
not.
actually forget the names of them. But they've done a lot of work that you've probably seen here and there.
Mhm.
But there's very very creative minds over there. And Gooseworks is the main girl who's been designing it, and she has been posting on like Twitter or whatever. She's like, yeah, I didn't expect this to get this big, but oh well. That's awesome, and that's the thing. Whenever you create something real and authentic, so I your book is out. Your book is published. It's out there.
Yes, my first book, The Galactic Open, is on Amazon and Indies and Ink as well.
You got to send me the link to that. As soon as I have Mooney, I am absolutely buying a hard copy of that. My bookshelf is empty, and I'm trying my best to read more stuff. I love reading. I miss diving deep into real stories. And like I said, I think the world needs more of that authentic feel. Um, So I know, looking over your TikTok, you've talked about a lot. You've talked about like writer's block, your story, and really dove deep into a lot. I guess a question I would have is, with you inspiring so many people, and as me being someone who tries to inspire others as well, I'm often asked, what do I need to be inspired for? Like, what is something that you feel if someone could sit down with you and 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 talk to you, what is something you might struggle with, like for me, I know I'm a perfectionist. I know that, like, for me, the one thing that gets me is like, oh, this isn't good enough, this isn't up to the standard. And I often have to tell myself, I'm like, okay, I don't have to have this be perfect, I just have to put it out there, put my best foot forward, and put it out there. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And perfectionism is definitely something that I struggle with. When I was writing The Galactic Open, there was one chapter that I went back and rewrote like 4 or 5 times because it didn't feel like it was as good as it could be. And I realized that going back and rewriting it and just letting my own anxiety feed my mind and my creative process, it wasn't going to get me the end result I wanted. What was in front of me was good enough. And I just had to force myself to accept it. And from what I've heard from everyone who's read it, it is indeed good enough because everyone's been really liking it.
It is
Um,
indeed good enough. That's awesome, man. You've been getting sales and stuff. That's great.
yeah, I mean, here and there, couple a month. Um, and like you said, it's not really about the money. It's I love knowing that people are out there reading my work and enjoying the world that I built. Um, and that's an interesting question you asked. If someone were to sit down with me and ask something that I struggle with, I would honestly tell them most things. I'm a pretty anxious person, and that's something I've really been trying to come to terms with recently. since my crash, I really wanted to just be more mindful of myself and the world. And so I really started to meditate. And something that that meditation has done is really helped me recognize how much of my own like fears and insecurities and everything stems from anxiety. So that's my biggest thing that I have
Mm,
to get
yeah. And I think that that's what feeds the perfectionism because we're anxious that if we don't make it perfect now, that later on down the line, it's gonna come back to bite us. You know,
over. Oh yeah.
like, oh, someone's gonna say that because I didn't fix this or because this isn't up to the standard, this is gonna be the thing that keeps it from succeeding, or this is what it's gonna be judged for, or what if my words get misunderstood, or something like that. Anxiety and perfectionism, dude, they are powerful, powerful, powerful things. And I want to say that I personally believe a lot of creatives deal with that. But I've met some people where it's, they don't know how to talk to people, they don't know how to open up, they don't know how to advertise. And what this has been my solution to my own anxiety and to my own perfectionism. And it sounds really dumb, but it's just been simply just do it. For me, it's hey, you survived coming to New York with nothing. You were living in your car for 3 months. You can do this. You know, you can go
Right.
to this open mic night. You can go to this audition. You can publish this book. It doesn't have to be perfect. You weren't perfect when you came to New York. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to be present. And we live in a world that like feeds on your attention and delivers nothing but anxiety and distraction. And it's awful. It is
Oh yeah.
disgusting. And I'm happy to see that the world is slowly, in its own way, healing. There's a lot of us that are, have these creative minds that are realizing, much like you, that yes, I have perfectionism. Yes, I have anxiety. And as somebody who, my degree that I'm chasing right now is psychology, and I love psychology so much, but I'm not an expert. I'm not a psychologist. I'm not a therapist. But I will say what I've learned, and people can fact check me if I'm wrong, but yeah, the first thing you got to do is realize that there's a problem, you know? If you can voice that you have anxiety, that you have this perfectionism, that you have whatever it may be, you know, then that is the first step to tackling it. In my documentary, I there's actually a meditation section. I might have done that whole thing wrong, but I wrote exactly what I did. I don't know if I meditated right. I don't know if I used the river analogy properly, the seasons properly, but all I know is I sat down and I wrote this. I sat down, I closed my eyes, and I imagined I was on a stream. I was on a river, and on the river there were little divots, like little streams that jutted out, and each one was blocked. And I had to go all the way back to the very beginning of the river and look at everything that was every stream that was blocked. And I had to work through every one of them. So like, the death of my grandfather, and I talked about something really awful that happened to me in my youth, um, and on and on and on and on.
Right.
Every little thing. And then at the very end, I spoke about how now, to the best of my abilities, I'm not perfect. When something happens that I realize would block a stream, I don't let it stay blocked.
Hmm.
But that doesn't mean I deal with it right there. 9 times out of 10, I take a mental note. Okay, this has been affecting me for a couple of days. I need to sit down with this. But I'm at work right now, or but I'm busy right now.
Right.
That's okay. Let me deal with that. As soon as I can, I'm going to meditate on this. And I don't know if that's the right way to do it, but for me, that's what works, you know, is
And
sitting
if it
down
works for you,
with
that's
something that's happened and allowing myself to process it and allowing myself to say, okay, this is how this like makes me feel emotionally, and that's valid. Feelings and emotions are valid, and this is how I'm going to work through it.
Right. I
But
think that's wonderful because, you know, there is no right or wrong way to meditate. Everyone is different. Every mind operates differently, and you found what works for you, and that is amazing. And it's actually very similar to when I meditate on my stories. I also imagine a river. I imagine the base of a giant waterfall and the river, and every offshoot in my head um, is actually the branch of another story. I have thousands of story ideas just living in my head, and if I want to work on them, if I want to go down that river, then when I meditate, I imagine that boat going down that river. And I've never really studied meditation. I don't really know the ins and outs of formal meditation. And it's striking to me that you and I both imagine rivers. I wonder if there is something to that.
now there might be. I don't know. We'll have to look into it. Um, and like I said, whenever I was listening to your story, and I'd love to hear more of it, of not just the crash, but everything after, because I do think that there's something beautiful about a rebirth, you know?
Mhm.
I don't think that it's like something everybody has to go through, but I do think that some of the most powerful people had something bad happen. And I read somewhere that every hero has a tragic backstory that could have made them the villain, and every villain has a tragic backstory that could have made them the hero. And it made me think, like, man, I know that if I hadn't sat with my problems and worked through them, I wonder, like, would I have come to New York and started a podcast and all this? And I know that everything that's happened to me has happened for a reason. And
Right.
that's one of the hardest mentalities to have. Because I used to be the kind of guy that's like, I think that's dumb. Why can you just find purpose in everything? Some shit just sucks. And it does. Some shit just sucks, you know?
Yes.
Um, whenever, when I had that crash last September, September of 25, and I remember I was driving, I was listening to Simple Man, the acoustic version, which is one of my favorite songs, and I was I just crossed the Pennsylvania state line. I remember seeing the car in my blind spot on the left. The semi truck was on the side of the road, no signal, no lights. It looked stationary, and I remember every single moment. And I remember how all of my senses like heightened. And
Right.
I remember the screeching of the tires. I remember, you know, everybody said I had great steering control. Like my initial reaction was bad because I overcorrected a left turn to get out of the trucker's way.
Mhm.
But they understood it because 6 years of perfect driving, never been in an accident before since I got my license. And it's a new car. I just bought a Subaru. I used to have a tiny Kia Forte, so different size vehicles. But
Right.
anyways, afterwards I was talking to the troopers. They said I was good to go. They let me go. I sat for a moment. I pulled off to a gas station near Erie, Pennsylvania, near Lake Erie, and I don't cry often. I started bawling, and I was literally thinking to myself, like, what is the purpose of this? Like, I'm going back to Oklahoma to finalize my divorce. That is a very big thing, and I want to go there and I want to close this chapter. Like, and I started questioning, like, do I go back to New York? Do I give up? Do I not do this right now? Like, I'm 6 hours into a 26-hour drive. Like, what do I do?
Right.
And I just I allowed myself to feel everything. I did not invalidate it. And I've learned the power of giving yourself presence, giving yourself grace, and understanding that you don't need to have the answer right there in that moment. You can let that moment exist, let that moment breathe, and then you can come back to it. So, I got out of the car. I bent some of the metal on my fender so that it wouldn't rub against the tire. Cut a piece off of the wheel mud guard, and I spent like an hour sitting there.
Right.
And then whenever, I didn't feel numb anymore, I wasn't nervous, I got back in the car. The door barely closed. Like it did close, but like there was a lot of wind that you could hear. And I just
Right.
remember driving, and I I was still like a little emotional. When I got to my dad's house down in Kentucky, and I didn't grow up with my dad. Um, but when I pulled into his driveway, and it's like 2 or 3 in the morning, way later than I was supposed to arrive. But he's sitting there with his cane, leaning over. His two dogs are running out to the car. Started crying again, dude. I was a mess that whole fucking day. I was crying like crazy, but I don't consider it a weakness. I don't.
No, not at
But
all. And crying is nothing to be ashamed of. It's an emotional time, and you, I think, handled it incredibly well.
yeah, yeah, and I didn't know the purpose. I was like, what? I got to Oklahoma, and I discovered a whole bunch of bills that were past due that I never knew about, that were all in my name from my old apartment because my brother lives where I used to live,
Mhm.
and just all this chaos, and I didn't know what to do. I didn't even sit with it until I got back home to New York like 2 or 3 weeks later, and now I know that there was a purpose behind that. I recorded an episode on the podcast called I Crashed Nova. Nova is like the name of my car. I gave her a name. I have on my wall over here the duct tape that covered the fender of the car. It's gold duct tape. And it has all of my friends from Oklahoma. While I was in Oklahoma, I had them sign it. And I was like, hey, sign my car, like a cast, you know?
That's
And
amazing.
yeah, and I framed it. It's in my it's in my apartment. It's framed. The trucking company paid for everything reluctantly, paid for everything, and so pretty much got a brand new car, and they had to pay me out of a bit of a sum as well. But that's not the point. The point is the purpose was not the money. The purpose was, I can look back at that and I can see the gold duct tape. You know what kintsugi is?
I've heard of it.
It's yeah. So basically, the Japanese believed that. I feel like I've overtaken your podcast episode. I'm so sorry.
You're
Um,
good.
it's the Japanese belief that whenever something breaks, it means it's more valuable because it has a story behind it. So what they would do is like whenever a pot breaks, they would fill the cracks with gold after they repaired it, and because they believed that the cracks made it more valuable because it has a story behind it. You know what I mean?
Wow, I love that.
So
That is amazing.
yeah, and it allowed me to evolve that and go, that's what makes us human. It's not our perfections, it's not our clean skin or our perfect body or our perfect mind or perfect discipline or perfect no 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 no. It's the cracks. It's the I didn't brush my teeth this morning. It's the oh well, I'm 15 minutes late to work or oh I failed that exam or I failed this whole semester.
Right.
It's the cracks. 'Cause they create a story. You know, that car crash, it was a crack in the story. It wasn't a derailment. It wasn't a failure or a mistake. It was a crack. And cracks don't have to have purpose. They don't. But they're beautiful because they happen. They're beautiful because they mean that we're human and that we're living and that we're breathing. That we exist.
We
And
do.
that is what the beauty of kintsugi is. And yes, I've made that crack have meaning, but it's allowed me to talk to others and go, every crack of your life, every divot, every moment, every stream that is blocked, it doesn't mean that your whole life is derailed. It doesn't mean that you're not capable. Because I used to think, I used to be married and I was living in Oklahoma. I lived with my brother, I lived with my best friend. We had 2 dogs and a cat,
Mhm.
and that was my life. I worked a 9 to 5, came home, I cooked, I cleaned, I did the laundry, everything. And then I'd go to bed and I'd do it again the next day. There's nothing wrong with that life. But I always believed that there was nothing more. I wasn't able to reach out and do anything more. I never even dreamed of coming to New York, but it happened, you
Right.
know? And I don't know. I think that it's the little moments, the little things that create the big moments. The little hills create big mountains, or
Absolutely.
lead to big mountains.
And
And
it could even be, as you were explaining the cracks, it could even be that all those cracks expose the glory of what's underneath, and without those cracks you never even would know that there's something under there to be seen and to grow and nurture from underneath. I don't know, when you when you were talking, that's just what my mind immediately went to, and I really like that idea that all of us have this well beneath our surface, and sometimes we can't bring it out ourselves. Sometimes the world has to crack us open in order to find it.
Mm.
I really like that idea.
Oh yeah, we're all eggs. We have this shell. We have
We
this
are all
beautiful
eggs.
stuff on the inside, man. Heck
We
yeah.
got to be careful because we got to keep our yolk in there, but we got to see it.
You gotta see it. No, I like the well analogy. I like the well. That's really inspiring. You should put that on your TikTok. You know that well analogy is really good.
I think I
Um,
will.
yeah. Well. I guess I will.
Well. I will be sure to not credit you at all.
As you should. As you should. Um, so I feel like we absolutely have to talk more about your story. But I do like this headspace that we're in right now. Um, we'll probably have another episode another time about your story because I just like I said, watching your TikTok and seeing and hearing now, like you I find it beautiful. Like the greatest minds in the world had something awful happen, and yet we didn't change our morals or our ethics or how we handle life. You know, I think that's awesome. And honestly, like
Thank
I know that I'm just some random guy, but I am so proud of you for staying true to yourself and
thank you.
wherever your true north is, man. Whether it's your fiance or your dog, bro, keep at it, man. Because and just know this is something that I had to learn too. Is even if you divert from the path, it doesn't mean you're lost. Oftentimes, it's just a side quest. We have a lot of side quests in this adventure of ours. You
Life
know?
is full of side quests.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I bet there's a lot of side quests in your book.
There's a few
Sponsor.
here and there.
Sponsor. No, just kidding. Um, but no, I'm really proud of you. Like that's I don't know if anybody's told you like that's incredible that you can go through such a traumatic moment. I mean, literally looking over and you see this other guy in the hospital and he's missing his legs and you're just like, or I don't know if he's missing, but he did lose his legs, and it's like that moment for me that would have crushed me, but here you
Yeah.
are, reaching out to others, inspiring others, motivating others. And I remember there's an actor, I forget his name, and I really should remember his name. He's one of my favorite actors. He used to be in The Mummy. What was his name? The main
Brendan
guy.
Fraser?
I have to look it up.
All right. Brendan Fraser, maybe?
Oh, Fraser. Yeah. Sorry, I didn't
Yep.
hear.
No, you're
Uh,
good.
Brendan Fraser. Yeah, like he went through like he used to be super fit, and then he had an accident, and then or not an accident, but a life-altering moment,
Right.
and his body is different, his mind is different, and he was nervous coming out back onto the screen because he looked different. And I feel like it's this body dysmorphia where we're like, my body used to be greater than this, and yet now here I am sitting here completely different, completely changed. Am I still valuable? And I think it's part of that world mentality that we have. The world
Mhm.
tells us that we have to have a certain physique, a certain mentality to be loved and to be beautiful. I mean,
Right.
you can't walk down the street without seeing a billboard of a supermodel, you know?
Right.
But the fact of the matter is, it's not your body, it's not your mental state, it's your heart, it's your soul. And I think I think your story is incredibly inspiring. It reminds me of Brendan Fraser where he went through this traumatic moment, but even despite that, he's still trying his best to heal the world, you know?
Thank
We
you.
live in
I
yeah.
Yeah. I one of the things when I started out knowing after the crash on this writing journey, when I knew I was going to have an audience, I knew I was going to have a voice. I didn't want to be just another sound in the ocean of the world that is just plagued with people screaming and trying to get your attention. I wanted to actually impact my readers and lift them up and make them realize that they can do so much with their own lives. It was one of the key elements of me putting my work out there was I wanted my voice to have a positive impact on the world, even if it was just to one person.
There it is. That's And that's the gospel of any wayfinder out there, any guide out there, anybody who's wanting to, move the world into a brighter light, you know? And it's something that I was reading about is wayfinders. There's people who are leaders, there's people who, are doers, but there's wayfinders. Wayfinders are like the ones who hold the lantern for others. Like they may not know the path ahead. They're not going to tell you how to live your life, but they'll stand with you, they'll sit with you, and they'll hold the lantern high and light your torch while you walk your own path. And it's been an honor and a blessing to speak not only to you, but to there's some other individuals that have been on the podcast that, I feel are in the same headspace. They have that wayfinder mentality, that guide mentality. And it's something that whenever I first started this podcast, I I just wanted to inspire one person. What
Right.
I've found is I accidentally inspire. I've been told that I inspire the people that I speak to, and I've had a few people reach out, and a few people comment on some of the episodes that are like, "Yo, well, this inspired me." And I like your comment where you said, "I know I'm gonna have an audience." That's gorgeous. I love that because
Thank you.
oftentimes we think it's deterring to think I'm not going to have an audience. And for me, the way I think is, okay, I might not have an audience, but for you to say, I am going to have an audience. I know I will. It's that full-blown motivation, and I love that because honestly, you manifested it. Like, you brought it into fruition. It happened because you believed in it. And the power of belief is a crazy thing.
Oh,
The
it's
power of belief.
insane what we can do.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, they say that like, patients in the hospital, they got to keep them, believing and hopeful because that keeps like their brains healthy. And I'm just like, "What? That's crazy." I don't know how accurate that is, but that's what I've heard, through the grapevine. Um,
I used to work for a hospital, and some of our patients had life altering injuries and disabilities, but it was always the ones who would wake up every day and be like, I'm going to beat this. It might not be today, but I'm going to beat this, that were way more likely to leave our hospital healthy than the others. And
mhm.
that always stuck with me. The power of belief is
Mm.
insane.
And the craziest thing about the power of belief, it's not only the fact that you can do, like we as humans can do so much by just believing, by just hoping. But it's also the power of belief of going, okay, I failed today, but I believe that I'll do better tomorrow. God, that mentality of going, I have to restart. My step one is over, you know?
Right.
My day one of sobriety, my day one of whichever challenge that I'm facing. But you know what? Tomorrow's another day. And I believe that I'm going to be better tomorrow than I was today. I'm going to be better today than I was yesterday. Like, dude, that is the power of belief is insane, you know?
Oh, yeah.
And I just hope you keep on believing, keep on being hopeful because the
Thank you. I
world
hope you
can,
do too.
yeah, the world can tear down creative minds. It can tear down wayfinders and guides. It can tear down those who want to see the world be a better place and want to guide people to believe in themselves, to believe in each other, and be hopeful for a better future. The beauty is not in its perfection. The beauty is not in the success rate, in the money, or any of that. You don't have to have a perfect mind. You don't have to have a perfect soul or a perfect body. You just have to be you, because there's only one you. There's only one me in this world.
You got
Our
to cherish
voice,
those cracks.
cherish those cracks, because our voice is gorgeous because of those cracks. Kintsugi gives it story, gives it meaning, you know?
Mhm.
And,
Absolutely.
every time you speak about your story, whether it's on TikTok or to a friend or through your books, you are motivating the world. You're holding up a lantern and you're saying, hey, I've been through the dark too, and we're not going to be lost forever. We will find our way. That's gorgeous. And I hope you keep it up.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And you yourself are holding this lantern of gathering all these people together in this community. And when we gather our light, it shines even brighter. So hopefully this work will inspire so many other people.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I've had a few people invite me to their podcasts. So here soon I'll probably be hopping on other podcasts. That sounds terrifying. I had a pastor from Nashville, Tennessee email me who wants to be on the podcast. That's terrifying. You know, the podcast is doing okay for itself. It is doing okay, and I'm really proud of it. I'm proud of the community that we've built, and I'm excited to see where it goes from here. And it all started from that leap of faith moment. Me going, I survived in New York. I can start a podcast. You know what I mean? And I
Oh yeah.
just did it. So it's incredible what you can do with the power of belief. And uh, is there before we cut it off for the night? Is there
Mhm.
anything you want to say to anybody out there that's listening?
I had to almost die to realize that I hadn't at all chased my dream. I hadn't really even taken a single step. And I don't want anyone out there to have to experience a near life ending event to start their journey. I want to be the voice that you hear that pushes you to start that hobby, to paint that picture. Do what you've always wanted to do because genuinely, you don't know how long you have to think about it and not do it.
Hey there, this is friend of the show, Anthony Ziello, and I just wanted to say thanks for stepping into the walk-in today. If this episode spoke to you, go ahead and follow the show, and catch us every Monday at 2 p.m. Eastern. You can find the walk-in on Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, YouTube Podcasts, pretty much anywhere you listen. And if you want to hang with our community, come join the Discord. We'd love to have you there. A huge shout out to the Podmatch community for having us with them. Their support for dreamers is unmatched. Until next time, take a breath, stay inspired, and as always, we'll walk together again next week.